So you get to that point where you're ready to go back into entrepreneurship. What's the first thing you get into?
So I was living in Dubai, and so I always liked this idea, and I don't know, I either invented it or stole it. I have no idea. But I always liked this idea to basically use where you currently are as like half old job and half what you want to be doing. So don't try to go from like construction to owning taxis. Find a way to do construction for taxi stands. So it's half old job, half new job, and it kind of like smooths the transition. Don't try to jump straight to taxis, right? And
Right.
so I always in my career have looked for ways to kind of like leverage what I have been doing in order to get to where directionally I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so for me, the first thing I was doing was I was working with a lot of US based real estate companies who wanted to raise foreign direct investment from the Middle East because it was kind of half my old job, which was like networking with rich people, right? And then I got exposure to marketing and kind of real estate finance. And so I was like half old job, half new job. And so started doing that for a little while just to kind of like figure out business
Right.
as an adult. So
Sure.
that's how I made the transition.
And then you went from that real estate finance into what next?
So basically over the course of that, I was able to accumulate some skills, things like digital marketing and kind of sales stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
And over time, I saw that some of the folks running those types of companies weren't that impressive. And it made me want to operate. So it made me want to actually be the owner, operator of companies. And because I was just like, man, if this is the people running companies, like I want to go compete and go
Yeah.
kind of play on that field. And so from that, kind of marginally successfully bought a couple businesses in Florida. Didn't really like them. Have sold most of them at this point. And then my biggest, probably to date, my biggest success was I bought a home improvement company in Southern California, and was able to grow it really, really fast.
And what type of home improvement?
It was a garage upgrade company.
Okay.
So, and we can definitely kind of deep dive on all that, but
Yeah.
there was attributes to it that let us grow it really fast,
Yeah.
and was able to take something that was not, basically grow it almost 500% in a year, which is pretty
Wow.
cool. So,
So what made you choose the garage door aspect? What got you into that?
upgrades, not doors. And that's
Upgrades.
an important reason. Yeah. So,
Okay. Tell me more.
Important distinction. So, couple different things. So when I was looking to buy a business, I wanted something in Southern California because that's where I wanted to live. And
Okay.
so definitely we were industry agnostic, meaning I looked at a million different sectors. So I looked at a courier service. I looked at a kids play place rental business. I looked at a whatever. And so this business that we found, there was a couple attributes to it that we really liked. The first was, even though it kind of looked like a construction business, it was really a product business with installation included. So it had some attributes of construction, like the licensing and things like that. But essentially, I didn't have to have super skilled crews. I didn't have to have super skilled salespeople, which let me grow really fast because I didn't have to, have this talent pipeline that was years long, right? Which I'm sure a lot of your audience understands. Some of the things that break when you grow is you're like, well, if I don't do the estimate, we lose margin.
Yeah.
Whereas in this business, because it was largely driven by like cabinet sales and slat wall, which is stuff on the walls, flooring, I can train a salesperson with no experience in a couple days. And so that let me bring on a bunch of salespeople really quickly. Whereas in a normal construction company, you're like, I can't, if these
Yeah.
guys mess up the plans, I lose money. So
Right.
the other thing that we liked about it was, very unsophisticated industry from a digital marketing perspective. And so we were able to look at kind of specifically what clicks were costing on Google,
Yeah.
which I think most people know, but it's a very kind of old school business tactic. And we were seeing that they were very, very inexpensive compared to what they should have been.
Sure.
So given how much money we made per job, they should have been costing $20-$30 each, and they were costing $1 or $2 each. And so that meant that if we got into that space, we could find a lot of customers really, really fast with a very basic marketing technique.
Right. Really interesting. So who is your ideal client for this business when you first started? Like, what are
Yep.
you going to be doing for them exactly?
Yep. So classic, the fancy marketing word is like avatar, like who's your
Sure.
customer profile, right?
Yeah.
And for us, it's middle or upper middle class, not upper class,
Okay.
homeowners who have a garage, obviously, have probably kids, and they basically just want that room to be nicer. And so the average sale for a garage upgrade in Southern California is around $10,000.
Okay.
And that includes like a couple walls of cabinets, the floor, and slat wall, which is stuff you can hang things on the wall. And so, we've had them as big as $40,000, as small as $2,000, but broadly speaking, $8, $9, $10,000. It's a 1-day install, 2 or 3 days if you do the floor. Easy to sell, easy to quote, easy to deliver. We don't have to have a porta potty on site or anything like that. And so we can really move quickly with crews and salespeople and stuff like that. So
Really
yeah, that's
interesting.
the classic. Yeah, that's kind of why we liked it, is because when you look at some of the challenges that I'm sure your audience is very familiar with, the complexities really mount as you get more and more kind of custom. Even though you're making more and more money, it's very difficult to scale because there's so much judgment involved, and there's so much. If I don't have a really skilled carpenter, I can't make money. Whereas for us, we could take basically a handyman and have him crushing installs for us.